Why do I still suffer if I'm spiritually awake? Now, before we answer this interesting question, let us check this idea of spiritual awakening. So let's imagine you are a more or less normal person and you live a normal life. And then something is happening, some kind of event where you suddenly experience a kind of transformation, kind of change in your personality, in your perception, in the understanding of the world, and probably an experience of your higher nature, of the divine, is included. So this means you maybe probably feel a kind of blissful state, a state of unity with the divine, maybe an impersonal state of consciousness. And this causes a kind of maybe dissociation, a kind of distance towards all worldly material happenings. So this means a state of detachment. So you feel detached towards emotions, towards thoughts, towards all kinds of negative happenings in the world. And maybe you feel an inner peace and inner harmony. And you are in a kind of observer mode. So you observe what is happening, but you do not really feel the need to react directly. So this is what we could call spiritual awakening. Detachment, higher states of unity, blissful states, impersonal states of consciousness. So this can be called spiritual awakening. Now, this spiritual awakening can be temporary. It can be a matter of a former incarnation where you have accomplished already a higher level of self-realization, of enlightenment, and you simply reinstalled this level of personal development thanks to a corresponding event, this life. Or it can be a matter of decades of spiritual training, where this spiritual awakening is indeed a major enlightenment, not temporary, but meant to stay forever, a higher state of consciousness, a real, lasting transformation. But it can also be just a kind of delusion. So when you follow mainstream teachings, when you do nice spiritual events, when all is simply love and happiness and easygoing and nothing to study, nothing to transform, nothing to heal, then this can be an illusion, a delusion. Something which is not real, but a matter of imagination, an imagination of the ego, not with bad intentions, but nevertheless just an imaginary construct. So, and what I want to point out with this is that we simply need to differentiate between these different ideas, as they have different effects. So let's imagine you have spent 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years with spiritual training, studies, exercising, meditation, This means that you have undergone deep transformational processes, healing, purification, vitalization, the conscious development of your whole personality, and finally the integration of the divine nature, which is called, or which can be called, enlightenment. So this means it was real work, and with this real work you have achieved something permanent. Self-realization, it is called in India, or enlightenment, or the divine consciousness as a lasting state. So when you have achieved this, then things certainly change, as you are now yourself a source of happiness, of inner peace, of harmony, and you have a permanent type of detachment from this material world. As Jesus already said, I'm in this world, but I'm not from this world. So I'm spirit, I'm a soul, but I do not identify with my material appearance. So when you have done this, then you do not really suffer anymore, because you understand creation, you understand yourself, and you are a source of happiness, of bliss, of wisdom, yourself. And like a sun, you radiate love and wisdom and compassion into this world, also healing. But if it is just a temporary experience, then it means you lack purification, you lack healing, you lack transformation. So it is like a preview what is waiting for you if you undergo a real spiritual training. This preview can be already blissful and it can be enlightening, but the real transformation is missing. So, and when the real transformation is missing, these aspects of purification, of healing, of refinement, empowerment, balancing, etc., then it is easy to fall back into states of suffering. Simply because you have not the energies which are needed to stay in a, or to maintain inner peace. So, and if it is just an illusion from the ego, then it is not even temporary, not lasting in any way, and you are just a human being suffering like all other human beings. And if it is a reinstallation of enlightenment from a former incarnation, then this means you still need to check what needs to be healed, what needs to be released, purified. So you need to work on yourself. An experience of enlightenment in a former incarnation is not sufficient. It is not clearing all problems of today. You need training, you need work, you need to purify, heal, vitalize, and refine yourself, even if you are enlightened. So these are things you need to consider. So again, spiritual awakening can be just an illusion of the ego. It can be a real installation of a former enlightenment from a past life. It can be the result of decades of spiritual training. And only real spiritual training based on purification, healing, vitalization, and refinement offers a permanent state of enlightenment, self-realization, or spiritual awakening. And only this offers the stability to feel peace in yourself, to feel love in yourself, independent from life, from life's conditions. Yeah? So, and even if you change, the world will be the same. The world does not change, only your perception of the world will change. And finally, it is up to you to take care, to take responsibility, to work on your life situation, to solve the problems of your life situation, to improve the conditions of your life. And so when we are incarnated, we need to take conscious responsibility for ourselves, for our life conditions, for the people we live, for our loved ones. And we simply need to work consciously on improving everything. So, and then we can say, yes, it is a happy life, it is a good life, it is a life filled with joy, with happiness, with success, with security, and then all is in balance and all is fine. And please be also aware that we cannot simply withdraw ourselves from normal life. We cannot simply go or escape to a nice cave in India in the jungle, or we cannot escape to a monastery. Yeah, but we are meant to bear the conditions of life where we have been placed in society, in the country, the culture we live in. Yeah, so take it as a positive challenge to strengthen you, to improve yourself, to improve the conditions of your life, to undergo real spiritual training, and then you can realize a permanent state, a positive permanent state of unity with the divine, taking part in the divine nature, taking part in the divine virtues of love, of harmony, of inner peace, of understanding, wisdom, and compassion. Yeah, I hope that this explanation helps you to manage your challenges in life better. And please check also the other videos where I talk about further questions, explaining and giving answers. Thank you for watching. I'm Ray del Sol, head of Ordo Mysticus.